Those of you who have read some history must have known that there is a period in human history called the Dark Ages of the world. It is said that these Dark Ages existed in Europe and therefore the world, because Europe was the world at that time, from about the 6th century to the 14th century. And how was this age, how was this calculation done? The calculation was done was that the rule of the Romans and the Greeks had come to an end. The rule of antiquity had come to an end. And some other rule had come to be imposed. And that came from whom? Came from the Christian powers and Christianity too. But my friends, ultimately the bad name given to Christianity, to this age, the Dark Ages of Europe, was given by the Protestant movement, because they thought that all the fault was done by the Christians, by the Catholics. And I must say, and that is, I am very anxious to say to you, I hope there are some Muslim students sitting here. I hope even if they are not here, I hope somebody will report to them what I am saying about the Dark Ages. The Dark Ages of history is that period which produced Islam. My friends, I am a Hindu, but I am a great admirer of the Prophet of Islam. I admire him because I have a rational attitude to all religion. My attitude to religion is that ultimately religion must surrender to science. And I try to find in every religion an attachment to this great principle of my own existence. And I find that there is no other prophet in any religion, including Hinduism, who said what the Prophet of Islam said. And if there are any Muslim students present, please go back home and tell everybody what Boolchand Jethmalani said about the Prophet of Islam. He is the one prophet who told his followers that when you walk in the path of knowledge, when you walk in search of knowledge, you are walking in the path of God. He is the one prophet who added another corollary to this great theorem of his, that the ink of the scholar, mind you, you are all scholars here, and I am telling you the tribute of the Prophet of Islam. The ink of the scholar, we said, is holier than the blood of a martyr. And while historians, Christians and others are writing about the dark ages of history, it is a match going on between Catholics and perhaps the Jews and some others, but everybody has forgotten what the Prophet of Islam did. And my friends, I am so tempted to share a few minutes with you about what happened while the Muslims were following the Prophet's teaching. Muslims became the rulers of the world. They went and conquered even Spain. To cut things short, there was a Muslim scholar who was invited by the Khalifa to go and live in his palace. He declined the invitation. He said, "No, sir, I can't come." So the Khalifa insisted that, "Why? I give you all facilities for your study. I will not interfere with anything that you do or say or write. And tell me the reason if you are not coming. Why not?" Do you know the reason that he gave? The reason he gave is, "Sir, if I shift to your palace, I require 400 camels to transport my library. And today I have been taken to the library of this college of yours. And I'm very proud of this college and I'm proud of those who collected these libraries. But this great scholar of Islam refused to go and live in the royal palace because he didn't want to shift his 400 camels worth library and he wanted to be with his own books. And to cut this story short, for 13 centuries, Islam spread education because they were following the teaching of the Prophet. In the 13th century, Islam got a mad Khalifa, burned all books except the Quran. So all those books which required 400 camels at one time had to disappear. And my friends, Muslims became the slaves of the very powers whom they had educated in the first instance. And therefore, I don't believe in the Dark Ages theory. Dark Ages did exist in some way, but it existed in those areas and in those patches where religion was not subject to science, where education was not superior to illiteracy, where the teacher was not respected much more than the uneducated fool. And I am here to warn you today that while you are sitting across me and in my front, please remember today that the dark ages exist today in the year 2016. And it is the role of lawyers and trained lawyers to put an end to the dark ages which are in existence. Politicians will not admit it. Politicians are the cause of the dark ages in this country, and they are therefore not interested in encouraging great institutions of education. These are the temples of democracy. Democracy without education is hypocrisy without limitation. And that is precisely what is happening. I am happy that you are here. Well, but I want to tell you that the story of the Dark Ages is practically false. After all, when you say there were Dark Ages, it is being said by the Christians. They don't want to pay attention to what the Prophet of Islam had achieved during that very period. But the Muslim friends also don't know their history. And today we don't have the real version of Islam. We have a counterfeit version of Islam, which I call the Wahhabi Islam version, which has nothing to do with the Prophet of Islam. Well, what you see now is Wahhabi Islam. This IS, what is it? It is a terrorist organization which wants to go on killing people, disturb the peace of the world. And today, these terrorists are not the simple terrorists of centuries ago. They are terrorists who have nuclear power in their hands. Once they put their hands on the nuclear power, be sure that the world is doomed forever, and they will first destroy the real Islam, then they will turn to others. And I don't know whether anybody will survive, because the nuclear power used on a big scale, which IS wants to do, is something which is a total threat to the existence of the whole world. So it is these dark ages, my friend, in which you lawyers and budding lawyers and good lawyers are functioning, and that is the part to which I wish to address myself today. Please think of this and be great exponents of free education. You are citizens of India. Those of you who are have at least sworn loyalty to the Constitution of India. And mind you that the Constitution of India has proclaimed its attachment to what we call secularism. What is secularism is the first thing which lawyers should know, and they should do it better than everybody else. My friends, secularism is the superiority of knowledge over ignorance, education over illiteracy, reason over false belief, and finally, the superiority of science over religion. I am conscious. I am a student of what the scientists have achieved in this world. Their achievements have been great, great, great. On the other hand, every great scientist has also committed errors. And there is a book which I will recommend to you. There is a book called the 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 uh, the most monumental blunders of the world. These are blunders committed by the greatest scientists like Darwin and Einstein. And make all the students read these kind of books, and you will come to know that today we are ready to secularism. Secularism means no false belief, rational belief. Maybe that rational belief itself be sometimes grand. It is better to be by that belief, because that belief, at least in your own mind, is capable of being changed, and not like a religious belief which is not supposed to change at all. And every day, and I wish to quote one small little illustration. I'm ashamed as an Indian citizen that in this country there should be a controversy over Bharat Mata ki Jai. What is this going on? Bharat Mata ki Jai. Does anybody understand what this really means? Bharat Mata is the name given to the soil, the ground, and the earth of India. Does not the earth provide you means of sustenance? Does it not provide you food grains? Does it not provide you metals? Does it not provide you every possible luxury for your sustenance? And what does a mother do? Mother also looks after her children by sacrificing a part of herself to look after the children. In that sense, the whole earth of the universe, the whole earth of this planet is a mother, because the mother takes care of the entire population and growing populations. And if you say that glory be to the mother, there is a Muslim idiot who said this morning in the paper, Islam doesn't permit it. In other words, Islam tells you not to give respect to your mother who takes care of you through thick and thin all your life. The lawyers must learn to speak up. Please go against these people who talk like this. They are taking liberties under the Constitution of India, the really freedom of speech guaranteed by the Constitution of India, and then trying to suppress that speech by telling people not to show any respect for your mother. The earth is the mother of everybody. It sustains Muslims, it sustains non-Muslims, sustains everybody. So my friends, we are in the dark ages of history today. And these dark ages have to be ended, and the greatest contribution can come from the universities, and particularly the students of law and the budding lawyers who are going to take ultimately the charge of this country.